Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of June 14, 2025. I'm your host, Sharifa Mohammed, MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Ogintoy, an infantry officer. A major advance resulted in the liberation of Zeleny Cut. High-intensity engagements across Ryazino, Krasnoarmysk, and Novopodgorodnoye inflicted the heaviest daily Ukrainian losses, with up to 520 killed or wounded. Notably, elite formations including Marines, UAV brigades, and National Police assault units were engaged and defeated. The sustained pressure in this corridor reflects a strategic effort to fracture Ukrainian command structures and cut off central reinforcement channels.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Ogintoy, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Ogintoy, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
June 14th was a day of major engagements and another liberated settlement. What's the big picture overview?
Yes, June 14th was operationally significant. What we're seeing now is the sustained application of multidimensional pressure across all axes, north, south, center, and east. Each Russian force grouping conducted coordinated actions that didn't just target Ukrainian formations directly but went after their depth, their logistics, their EW networks, their ISR platforms. The most symbolic event of the day was the liberation of Zeleny Cut by the Center Group. But perhaps more important is the pattern that's emerging. Multiple Ukrainian brigades, mechanized, airborne, marine, and even national-level assault police are being degraded or outright defeated in a single day's actions. That's a clear sign of momentum turning in favor of Russian forces, not just tactically, but strategically.
Let's start at the top. How did the North Group operate in Sumi? Any breakthroughs?
The North Group continued its methodical advance through Sumi, penetrating deep into defensive layers around settlements like Vakilovshchina and Rizevka. What's notable is the caliber of forces engaged. Ukraine committed airborne assault, mechanized, and even ranger units to hold those lines. Despite that, our units were able to disrupt those formations, inflicting significant personnel and equipment losses. This isn't a rapid push but a carefully paced attritional advance. Every kilometer gained in Sumi forces Ukraine to reallocate reserves northward, reserves they desperately need in central Donetsk. That redistribution pressure is exactly what this axis is designed to create.
Shifting to the West Group in Kharkov and Western Donetsk, what developments stood out?
In Kharkov, the West Group took up stronger tactical positions near Kupiansk, Dolzhenko, and other key junctions. These aren't just geographic gains, they're positioning moves that allow for enfilade fire and better artillery control over supply routes. The Ukrainian formations engaged here were largely mechanized and assault brigades, with one National Guard brigade. What we observed was not just the neutralization of infantry and vehicles but the elimination of battlefield enablers, 2 electronic warfare stations, and 3 ammunition depots. That's what gives us the upper hand, not just defeating troops, but destroying their ability to fight tomorrow.
And on the southern front, Chasov Yar and Konstantinovka seem to keep coming up. What's happening there?
That's one of the hottest zones. The southern group is engaged in complex terrain, urban, wooded, and elevation-shifting areas. Ukrainian defenses in places like Chasov Yar have been layered and supported by foreign-supplied assets. On June 14th, our forces destroyed a US-made HMMWV and a British FH-7155mm howitzer, which indicates how much Western equipment is embedded in these sectors. More importantly, we neutralized forces from 6 different brigades in this area alone. This isn't just random attrition, it's a deliberate campaign to erode the remaining maneuver capability Ukraine has in Donetsk. Without these units, Ukraine cannot mount a coherent counteroffensive in this corridor.
Let's talk about the Center Group, which liberated Zeleny Cut. What makes that advance so strategically important?
Zeleny Cut is a pivotal position. It sits on a communication axis leading toward Ukrainian reinforcement channels into Dnipropetrovsk. By taking that settlement, we've not only denied them a tactical hub, but we've opened a gate for further deep operations into central Ukraine. But more telling is the composition of enemy forces defeated in the vicinity: 6 mechanized brigades, airborne assault units, 2 brigades of Marines, a National Police assault brigade, and even unmanned systems regiments. That's a who's who of Ukrainian elite formations. The fact that we engaged and routed so many in one sweep speaks volumes. It signals that Ukraine is exhausting its Tier 1 units to plug critical gaps. That's not sustainable.
What about in Zaporizhia and Kherson, where the East and DNEPR groups are operating?
Those axes continue to function as suppressive and shaping operations. The East Group advanced near Shevchenko and Malinovka, damaging Ukraine's ability to reconstitute in Zaporizhia. We took out nearly 200 personnel, an armored vehicle, and artillery. In the Dnipro sector, our units engaged both mechanized and coastal defense forces. The destruction of a counter-battery radar system, 2 EW stations, and several fuel and ammo depots was especially important. This zone is all about denying Ukraine the logistics and surveillance capacity to contest deeper Russian advances. It's working.
Finally, Colonel air and drone activity was again intense. What's the update from the air defense side?
Yes. The aerospace component is essential now. Over the day, our air defenses intercepted 2 U.S.-made JDAM bombs and 110 UAVs, more than half of them outside the formal operation zone. That tells us Ukraine is attempting long-range probing and ISR even beyond the contact line. We're responding with a widened air defense envelope and integrated drone suppression operations. Russia isn't just defending from drones, we're systematically denying the skies to any uncoordinated UAV operation. Add to that the strikes on 148 enemy staging sites and drone production facilities, and you get a sense of the intensity of this invisible layer of warfare.
Colonel Ogintoy, a final reflection. What does June 14th tell us about the direction of this operation?
June 14th confirms that the operational initiative has fully shifted. We're seeing Ukrainian elite units degraded, electronic and logistic networks fragmented, and defensive belts breached across multiple axes. Russia is now applying what we call tactical saturation, consistent, synchronized pressure across all domains: ground, air, electronic, and logistical. If this continues, what follows is not just positional gains, it's regional destabilization of Ukrainian operational coherence. The question now isn't whether Ukraine can hold terrain, it's whether they can hold together as a coordinated fighting force.
What is the main strategic challenge facing Israel right now in its military approach toward Iran?
The primary difficulty for Israel is time. The clock is running against its strategic objectives. While the current airstrikes may be well-planned and tactically effective, they're not sustainable. Israel's capacity to carry out extended precision strikes, supported by high-quality intelligence and the element of surprise, is finite. There are natural limits in munitions stockpiles, ISR coverage, operational tempo, and most importantly, in international political patience and legitimacy.
So even with these tactical successes, what are the limits Israel is facing?
They've nearly exhausted their non-nuclear arsenal of strategic tools. This includes advanced U.S.-supplied munitions, electronic warfare systems, offensive cyber capabilities, and sabotage operations. But Iran's nuclear facilities, sites like Natanz, Fordow, and Espejabad, were designed specifically to withstand conventional attack. These facilities are deeply buried in reinforced mountain structures. Standard aircraft-delivered ordnance, no matter how precise, cannot penetrate them. So Israel has hit the technical ceiling of what it can achieve unilaterally. It's now operating in a realm where any further escalation would require capabilities or political decisions it is either unwilling or unable to employ alone.
What has allowed Iran to absorb the strikes and keep its infrastructure functional?
Iran's defensive design was strategic by nature. Their nuclear program was intentionally decentralized, with redundant and dispersed infrastructure and control systems designed to survive partial disruption. Israel's strikes inflicted tactical damage, above-ground infrastructure was hit, personnel losses occurred, and communications were disrupted. But the deeper network, the core of the program, remains operational. Iran bet on depth and dispersal, and that bet has paid off, at least so far. The system is bruised but intact. And their human and logistical networks are already adapting.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to emphasize it's not about tactics anymore. It's about strategy and in-game clarity. Israel launched this campaign expecting to degrade or delay Iran's nuclear capabilities. But now that the limits of that approach are clear, the lack of a coherent next phase is the real vulnerability. Without a follow-on plan, especially one that can match Iran's deep defenses, the legitimacy and rationale of the operation come under question. Every next move raises political, military, and diplomatic costs. And Iran knows that.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive frontline updates from commanders in theater.